Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome to the midday talk show with Auntie Tima. Who's excited? I am. Yes. I'm so excited to see us all today. If you're here, please say hello. Let me know that you have arrived. I see us on Facebook, on YouTube, and on on Instagram. Are you here? Yes, I see us on Instagram right now. Okay, so today is another Wednesday, and it's an opportunity for us teen parents, especially preteen parents, to talk about the issues that we're having. Yeah, I see the energy on YouTube. So happy to see you, Artistic Shelly. Shelly, forgive me. I see you are here. Oh, you're here with the energy. I see you, Dorothy. Thank you so much for joining me. I see you, Olua Kemi's Oga. I see you, the good kids. I see you, Gaylola. I see you, Elizabeth. Who knows that yellow is my favorite color? I know you don't know, but my girls know. Yeah, yellow is my favorite color. And every time I'm a bit on the low, I just wear yellow. The sun just begins to shine on me. Yeah, so yellow just has a way of popping my moods up. All right, everybody. Yes, good morning to you. Good afternoon now. The Lord is my strength. Amen. Thank you, Tolu, for that prayer. Highly needed. Thank you, Bibi. Thank you, Bibli. God bless you. Okay, so last week, who remembers what we talked about last week? Yes, I want to give a gift. I should give a gift of one of my free ebooks, any of my ebooks that you do not have. First correct answer on all the three platforms get a gift. Yes, who are the people with the correct answers? Who are the people with the first? Who's the person with the first correct answer? Just my books. Anyone you don't have, but you must have one. If you don't have, you are disqualified. If you don't have, you are disqualified. If you are not following me, you are also disqualified. Yes, yes. Okay, let me see. First correct answers. Who remembers? Well, hello, Mrs. Augusta. How are my girls? How are my queen daughters? First correct answer, what we talked about last week. Who remembers? First correct answers on all the platforms get any of my ebook free, like free. You get the link right away. Still waiting, still waiting. First correct answer. Somebody wants to run and check our book. Somebody wants to run and go and check replay. First correct answer. Nobody going, 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 gone. Okay, so last week we talked about raising difficult children, and one major point we made last week was the fact that difficult children are actually um, different children. They are children that just need to be parented with more knowledge, with more effort, and with more skill. That child that you're complaining about, the child is stubborn, the child is strong-willed, the child no dey hear word, the child head no straight, the child wahala too much. That child just requires more attention, more effort, and more skill. We also talked about how we need to study the personality of the child. so that you can parent from an entry point. Study the love language, study the learning style, study the personality of this child so that you can have a point of contact, a point of entry. You're trying to parent the heart of this child. Now, let me say something at this point. Parenting um, a different child requires a lot of empathy and understanding. You must target the heart and not the behavior of the child. Please write in the comments. To successfully parent a difficult child in this community, a different child, you need to target the heart and not the action. Target the heart and not the behavior of this child. Now, today I want us to take us one step behind. Let's even consider the foundation, the root cause of this so-called difficult behavior. Because I think about it, one child who is called difficult changes an environment, goes to somewhere else, and then the people he's with are like such an amazing child. And you're like, hello, what's that? What's happening? I get it. I always believe in understanding foundations because, without the foundation, we are helpless. Without the foundation, we will struggle. We will continue to struggle because we'll keep being pulled back. Yes, I see all my super mamas, the women and the men, no, the women, the super fathers, super daddies are the men, both of them, parenting my queen daughters on my behalf. Thank you so much. You're doing a good job. Well done to you. Keep pushing. Take care of my queen daughters for me to avoid maximum dragging or dragging pro max. Yes. So we are saying that if you do not understand why this child is so hard and tough to raise, you will keep struggling. Mhm. If you keep whining, there's an association of whiners. And on Saturday, the super mothers in the girls' hub, we had a meeting, a hangout, and we agreed that we're no longer whining. Right? Mommies, mamas, right? Didn't we agree? Didn't we agree that no more whining, no more complaining? We did. Yes, we did. Because it doesn't change anything. Rather than whine, rather than complain, rather than compare, let's look at the gaps. I believe that if you close the gap in your parenting, it will become easier to raise a different child. So, as shared by Coach Wendy is Africa's number one, the world's number one parenting coach. She highlighted reasons why some children could be difficult, difficult and hard to raise, difficult to parent. It's just this particular child and Tetima. The others are okay. Oh. They are not perfect, but it's not that hard. But this, you see, this is my son, this is my daughter, especially the girls. This is my girl. Her mind is strong. I believe you. Naturally, girls, their mind is strong. Not to talk of the one that now needs extra attention. I believe you. I get it. Okay, let's put on our thinking cap and begin to analyze based on the structure or the framework that Coach Wendy has given us. She says that the number one root cause or one of the root causes, so in no particular order, but let's start from the developmental factors. When our children have unmet development needs. Many times we don't want to agree that our children have needs. Once you just say need, the parents just like, what do they need? Are they paying any bills? But as our children grow, there are certain development or developmental needs that they ought to be meeting. It's like developmental milestones. There are certain things that is expected of them at a particular age. There's a certain behavior that is expected of them. There's a certain application of knowledge and of skill that is expected. Once it is not there, there's a problem. There is a way that our children's brain should develop. There is a particular level of social skills they should exhibit, independent skills they should exhibit. If it is not, if you have not trained them in that way, they are going to struggle. So they are going to now resist by their behavior. If a child does not know how to, for example, um, relate with his peers, even if that child is 7, he's going to react because he's going to be constantly embarrassed. Why are you behaving like this? Why are you doing that? He's going to just become so angry. Like, how come everybody else knows how to do this thing and I don't? How come everybody else knows how to take care of themselves and I don't? There was a time in our children's school when those of them that could cook, I'm talking about grade 4 or 5, those of them that could not cook now started misbehaving. Yes, now. Because their peers were coming to school and bragging about, oh, I cooked this for myself, I cooked this for my mom, I cooked this for my dad. And those that could not do it, they felt like strange. It was odd. Your child is supposed to be able to have a conversation in a particular manner. He's not able to. He's not going to come to you and drag you. You're his parent. So he's going to start resisting. This thing happened to one of my siblings. It just seemed like she was just the odd one. What everybody else could do and do easily, she was not able to do. Oh, yes, we were saying things like, her birth was a bit different and all that, but it affected her because she was now like the stubborn one, the rebellious one, the one that didn't want to comply. But if you check it, it was because her development did not come like the rest of us. That person you are calling black sheep in your family, check it. Every other thing that the other siblings could do, can that one do? So a lot of times when we bail out our children, we're actually doing them more harm than good, because development is not just in speaking, it's also in the doing. It's in capacity, it's in ability. If these children don't know how to do certain things, they will become stubborn. Excuse me. Yes, they'll become stubborn. They will rebel because they'll feel like, why is my own case like this? I used to have a relative, family member who was spoiled. You see, some of the difficult behavior we see in our children is coming from a place of spoiling, overindulgence, over entitlement. You think you're just, oh, I'm just loving on my son, on my daughter. You don't know that you are skipping a stage where he should be developed. You're skipping a stage where his brain should be able to process some things. You skipped it by thinking for him. You skipped it by rescuing him from what should have stretched him and made him. The making of our children comes in the stretching. I am not of them. Emmy, that is it, Yoruba people. I am not of them that spoil children. Because I look at my life, at 12, I went to secondary school and I went very far away from home. But when I got there, I was mature. I obeyed instructions. I was a compliant child, not just compliant to the wrong things. I was a child that was in order because my age, the way I developed was the way I should have. So I was not one of those parents, one of those children that would jump fence. I never jumped fence. You know, when people come and say, "Oh, you're always bragging about how good you were," am I supposed to brag? Why we don't always like good bragging? We like the bad ones. I was a child that was in order. If you see me serving punishment, most times it's because it's corporal, they call it. I went to military school. So it's corporal punishment. They are punishing everybody in class, they are punishing everybody in the hostel, they are punishing everybody in this dormitory, kind of thing. Not that I was perfect. A few times, of course, as a child, I would just go off. But generally speaking, because I developed well, at the right time, I was able to do everything I was meant to do. If you check the people that were constantly disobeying or doing one wrong thing or the other, there was a gap. Times, parenting gap, where their parents were supposed to fill in, they were not there. Of course, the child becomes a difficult person. Second one, environmental. There are some cities you live in, there are some schools your child will go to, there are some places you stay, some streets, some areas in your city, some friends they keep that will give your child a natural propensity to misbehave. So it's like you against the world. How would you survive? There are some places that when your children just go to, you just notice that they just change. All of a sudden, in pidgin, they will say they know the year word. Check it. Is not every place that is meant for every child. In your arrangement, in your planning, in your decision making, check it. Is this environment favorable for my child? You see that all of a sudden your child is talking back. All of a sudden your child is giving it to you back to back. And you're busy getting upset. You're busy shrieking. You're busy vexing. Check it. Is that environment? Coach Wendy usually will say that environment is bigger than values. Yes, now, because your environment has the capacity to swallow the values, even you as an adult. Are there not places that you go to that you feel weak? All your value system, all your life principles and philosophies into the trash. So always consider your children. I don't know why we don't consider them when we're making choices of schools, of relocation plans. I don't know why we don't consider them. And then you start complaining and say something like, "Oh, since we got here, since we changed the school, my daughter has changed." She will change. Is the environment has the capacity to change anybody. Anybody. I know people that have relocated, changed cities, changed countries, and their spiritual lives, their social lives, everything just went down, just started taking a nosedive. Now we're talking about children 4, 5, 7, 10, 13, 15, people that are not yet fully formed. You now take them to an environment that has rebelling tendencies, and then you're complaining. What of some schools? There was a city I went to in Nigeria. I went for an event. When I got there, Adaku, yes, I read economics, so you can hear propensity a lot around me. I went to this particular sitting and I saw the secondary school children, fighting. And because I have a phobia for violence. Yes. I can be chilling. I can be chilling, flexing, immediately fight, start. I'll have a panic attack immediately. So it happened. Decided to fight and had a panic attack. And my host was saying to me that, Auntie Etima, this is normal here. I said, I don't understand. This is normal. They fight at will. Any little thing, there's a fight. And your child is in that school or in one of those schools. And you're saying, this is not how I brought you up. I brought you up to be a very gentle child, to be a put together child, to be an aligned, a compliant child. You're speaking English. How? The child will not be able to align in an environment that is unalignable. The reason why I was able to also thrive in my secondary school was because the environment that enabled it. If you want to be a good child, if you go to my secondary school, you'll be very, very good. Because everything is on schedule. Everything is running on a plan, on the straight and narrow. That's how my school was, my alma mater. But if you had carried this same me like this to that school where they are breaking bottles, after some time, panic attack will end. I will start breaking bottles. I will go back home. I no go grieve for anybody because of the environment I'm staying in. 9 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. And of course, as a border, more hours, 24 hours, 247. So let's check it. This environment, sometimes it's even the environment in our home. We bring our what's this thing called? Our external relatives, our relatives. We bring our relatives. They come in there with the way they also were raised in crazy environment. You bring them into your own put together environment, and then you say, well, I don't know why my child is suddenly so strong-headed. It's because of that cousin. Yes. It's because of that relative. It's because of that auntie, that uncle, right? The uncle came with his own. Children left alone grow up and bring shame to others. They now take it as a behavior, bring it, export it to your house. You too, you now import it and now complain. I don't know why my child is like this. When family members are not intentional or have not been brought up well, they will influence your children whether you like it or not. That's the unfortunate thing. So environmental factor very important. Then the next one Coach Wendy explained was emotional and psychological factors, where the home is turbulent, where they are controlling parents, where they are emotionally unintelligent family members. Everybody is just unruly. Your children are just going to have a psychological issue. Yes, they will. They will. When your home is turbulent, it's like when we are on the air and they say fasten your seatbelt because we are going to hit some turbulence in the air. You better fasten your seatbelt because these turbulent homes are going to cause your children to misbehave because they don't know how to express themselves. So they just what they have been seeing versus what they're experiencing, they just behave anyhow. You can't see a child from a peaceful home, from a home that has, from a home where they can express themselves, where there is healthy communication, where there is, a good trail of beautiful conversations, positive conversations. You cannot see a home where the parents are highly emotionally intelligent and then the child is misbehaving consistently. No, no. So before we jump and say, oh, my child, oh, very stubborn, check what's the thermometer? What's the temperature? The parenting temperature of your home, what degree? What degree is it? Is it hot, 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 every time hot, give it to you hot, hot, everywhere, fire? The child is going to misbehave because they're going to feel choked. They're going to feel like they're burning. When people are burning, when people are in an emergency, when people are in trouble, what do? They fight for survival, right? Am I not right? When children come to camp, if they come to, that's why we make sure that camp is so not like the regular home. Because if we do that, these children will give it back to us. It's the same law that applies everywhere. The reason why we go the extra mile to make camp a warm, cordial, beautiful place where they can encounter God, and build life skills. The reason why we go the extra mile, spend so much money, is because we want these children to relax and learn. I said it the other day when I was having a class in the inner circle about rest, that until you rest, you can't have miracles. You can't even see miracles until you rest. Until you rest, you cannot be creative. Until you rest, you cannot see answers. You can't be a solution provider until you rest. So you need that environment in your home to be at peace so that your children's behavior can align. Number four, number four, untreated trauma. Untreated trauma. ACs. When your child has had adverse childhood experiences like loss, like grief, like failure, like being, attacked constantly. Every time there's one aggression coming their way, agitated parents up and down the place. Sometimes it's something that you have said, something that you have done to your child that is deep down. This child will just carry it, carry it, carry it. As you are saying yes, the child is saying no. As you are saying go, the child is coming. As you are saying sit, the child is standing. Why? The trauma, the pain. What is trauma? Trauma is simply pain. Pain in our emotions, pain in our minds, pain with our feelings, unpleasant circumstances. That's what trauma is. So when it's not treated, that means that case has not been revisited. Your child is going to struggle. I always say it. I had a session with, a girl. I think that was last week or 2 weeks ago. And I identified some sources of trauma. And I was trying to say, look, there are some of these issues we need to deal with. And she was like, no, Auntie Tima, it's gone. I don't need to talk to my mom about it again. Let's just let it fly. And I said, nope. In as much as people say things like, oh, your past is your past, it has nothing to do with where you are going. Excuse me, where you are coming from plays a very big role in where you are going and how you are going to get there and where you are now. Let's stop sweeping things under the carpet and saying things like, we'll be all right, we're fine. So far, we're fine, we're good. Nope, nope. Our children need these things to be dealt with. Our children need these things. In fact, it's even going to give them a very high level of, composure, a high level of closure. They are going to feel like, okay, my parents really care. That's why they are going back to revisit the issues that I've had as a child. Many times, because of the different forms of abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, psychological abuse, sexual abuse, all sorts of abuse. That is why you see these children resisting. That's why you see them. They don't want to hear word. They don't want to go. You're quarreling with your spouse constantly. You are fighting your siblings, your parents, your children. They are watching, and then you now want them to be all put together. Like seriously? How? How are they going to be put together? See, it's trouble and chaos. The first place that is affected is their mind, is their emotions. And their emotions will, the state of their emotions will show in their actions. Please take that down. The state of your child's emotions will show in their actions. If they are not happy, they are not going to behave well. Trust me. Stam, stam. Our children will not behave well if they are not happy. These children need to constantly maintain a, a steady, a steady state of positive emotions. They need it. So if you ignore it and you go like, duh, 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 whatever, everybody will be fine. After all, I'm also fine. I went through a lot myself as a child and I'm okay. So my child better be okay. Then you are ready to continue in the pain of having a difficult child. Because difficult children, they bring pain, trust me. You ask yourself questions. Where did I get it wrong? What didn't I do well? Everything they say we should do, I did. You'll be complaining to not change anything. Because an unhappy child will give you grief. Please write it. An emotionally unstable child will give you trauma, will re-trauma you. Have you heard of re-trauma? The trauma you had before growing up. That's your that troublesome child will re-trauma you. So I need us to pay attention. If your child is having, effect of these traumatic situations, don't play down on it. Don't play down on it and be saying something like, abeg, what is it? Is it the first? It's not the first, it's not the last. Don't say those things because they will remind you of your own trauma with their behavior. And you trust me, the generation knows how to do it. Finally, for today, because we have said we're going to break this class into different parts so that we can go and take action. Finally, for today, biological generic factors. When it is in your lineage, as it were, to be stubborn. Some people say it in our family, no dey gree for anybody. All me and all my siblings, all of us, our eye tear. Okay. So you don't know what it means to have tear eye until you now have a child and the child now start tearing his own eye. Then you now be like, what? My child like this? Why my child? Check it. It could be in your family. And because nobody stood up for it or stood up against it or made a considerable intentional action to change it, then that's what you're going to see. You need to check it. You need to be careful. You need to make sure that this disagreeable behavior is dealt with. Is dealt with. Is dealt with. If you don't, you will keep struggling. So those traits are sometimes coming. Those traits are sometimes coming from the genes, what they call follow come. You have one uncle that used to break people's head. You have one auntie that used to scatter everywhere. You know, and you too, you have it small. When I could when they say this, I was like, this is so true. We come from families that are, kind of like troublesome families. They will even be telling you, don't go near that family. They can beat you up even in the market. When you now see your child doing it, to now be looking like, why is this child like this? The child came from your loins. So you must be so intentional about this to make sure that your children are not dealing with any of these 5 factors. That this is not happening. If it is already there, then please start working on it. Okay, so this is where we stop for today. Next week, we're going to go to part three. Who is ready? Part three is coming with a bang. Yes, any questions? I want to actually take questions. I want to take questions. I want to take questions. I want to take questions. Yes, yes, yes. Do we have any questions? Ready and waiting for part three. Good, good, good. Thank you so much. Um, yes, you need to heal. If you don't heal, um, you're going to hurt your child, and then your child is going to hurt you too. The child is going to re-traumatize you. Yes. So the trauma you had before, the child will now redo it. If you don't heal from your past, help your children heal from theirs. Because if you have a teenager, the teenager has a child has had a childhood, and if it wasn't a pleasant one, that teenager is traumatized. Yes, so any questions before we call it a day for today? Any questions? No questions, just thank yous. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you to everyone on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. Have you heard about our boot camp? Our boot camp registration has begun. We're coming to Lagos, we're coming to Port Harcourt, we're coming to Abuja. We have just 100 slots per zone. So if the zone is full, you have to join us online. If you're not in Abuja, you're not in Lagos, you're not in Port Harcourt, you can join us online. Don't worry, very soon we'll be coming to your nation, not just city, to your nation. UK, Apa, are you guys ready? All right. So a reminders of my book. This is my book, Spiritual Intelligent Teenager. This is the book that we're reading at the Girls Hub alongside this A Child's Guide to Spiritual Intelligence. So this is that spiritual resource that your children need. Then we have my bestseller, Maintain Your Why, my first book for teenagers, such an amazing book. Thousands and thousands of copies have been sold already. Then we have a preteen's guide to puberty for your preteens. Then we have a child's guide to managing emotions, a child's guide to good body habits and boundaries, a child's guide to growing responsible, a child's guide to good attitude. Yes, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Eight of them. The ninth one is True Friendship. Beautiful books for your teenagers and children. Okay, I see a question here. And yes, the spiritual intelligent teenager will be read on camp. So please make sure that you pick your copy now. Please, if you notice that where your child is learning bad habits is from the children's church, what do you do, please? Do you know I totally get this? You want to speak to the children's church leadership. Because if you say that's the reason why your child is sitting with you in church, for how long will you keep changing? You change church? For how long? There are some that are in a controlled place that you can affect the change. If it is really, really bad, please leave. But you know, when parents, because I'm very sentimental about this question. I'm in teens church. And many times I hear parents say the reason why my child did not come to teens church is because they are spoiling the child in teens church. And I'm inside the teens church. What is happening there is the regular thing just being things. But yes, I know that there are some teen churches, children churches, that is really, really terrible. You want to leave. Yes, you want to take your child away because that window is not healthy for your child. But check it first. Is it really that bad? Because many times I know you parents, people over exaggerate to, hey, everything my child, that any bad thing my child has learned is from this children's church. Children's church is just 2 hours. Is there any children's church that is more than 2 hours? Is it that they are not teaching? Do some investigation, check. Is it when they sit? Is it when the teacher leaves? What is going on? How come the teens church is the one, or the children's church is the place where your child is being negatively influenced? Just check it. You would see that it would, excuse me, it would give you a better um, position. Yeah. Ove says, I love maintain your wife. Thank you. Thank you so much. Any other questions? So please check. Check. If it is really, really the teens church that is dealing with your child and modeling bad behavior, difficult behavior, then you might need to leave there. Don't leave until you have made an attempt to correct what it is that is there. Don't leave until you made an attempt. Until you have contributed and not just whined. Until you have contributed and not just complained and compared. You have done something about it. That's when you can leave. Okay, so yes, we're expecting to see your children on camp. And if your daughter is not in the girls' hub, duh, you lose, you're missing. Recently, the girls have been sending me their videos about what they're experiencing at the girls' hub, and it has been like, oh my goodness. Registration for next year is also out. Hop in, register with as low as 10K, book your daughters, excuse me, book your daughters already. Book them, because some people, we couldn't take them this year. Couldn't take them. So please don't be left out. Book for your daughters to be at the girls' hub, where I sit as queen mother and my girls serve as queen daughters. Amazing girls doing beautiful things around the world. Such a blessing. Such a blessing. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Please tag your friends. Oh, don't come when everything has ended and then you now say, I'm just hearing. They are just hearing. Please let them come in when they can, now that they can. All right. God bless you all. Please keep sharing the word, like, share, subscribe, tag people, mention to people. Let us solve these challenges before it gets out of hand. Let us solve these challenges before it becomes a challenge to us, hinders us and stops us. Let us work on it already. God bless you and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.